Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? And then remain standing for a moment of silence for any loved one you lost. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call. Stan's here, Chris is here, Dina, and Ed. We're all here. Okay, tonight is Meet the Candidates night. I've put together a bunch of guidelines because I don't want this getting out of hand. This is a positive night for the candidates, okay? We will be hearing from the candidates that are officially on the ballot in November, okay? The back of your agenda is the ballot, so you'll be able to keep track of who's who, what party they're affiliated with, okay? Now there's a couple little loose ends. Some people, the legislative districts are apportioned. We belong to 5, 7, and 8, but it's immaterial because Tim Myers, there's no challenger, so we're not going to have anyone from the legislature tonight. Each candidate will have 6 minutes. For the Cheektowaga ballot, the ballot is there for a full term and for a vacancy. We're going to do the full term folks first, and then the folks that are running for the vacancy. We will call the candidates up alphabetical. There will be no derogatory comments about your fellow or the people you're running against. If you're up here and you start to name names and start being derogatory, I'm cutting you off. You can talk general, okay? You can talk political party issues and things like that, but I don't want any candidate mentioning any other candidate's name other than in a positive manner. Otherwise, I'm cutting it off. Basically, candidates, you're up here. I'm trying to convince the people in the audience why they should vote for you. As simple as that. Other than that, you can wing it however you want. You can give them your position, you can give them your background, whatever. But again, nothing negative towards any fellow candidates. There'll be no questions from the audience, okay? There'll be no debates. The candidates can stay afterwards as long as you want to hand out your political information, okay? But again, this is not a debate, this is an information session. Is there any questions from anyone? Okay. Kevin Hardwick and Christine Zarnik, are you here? Christine? No? Okay. Oh, by the way, the ballot is on the back of your agenda. Did I mention that?
Yeah.
Okay. Tim Myers, running unopposed. For council members, first off is Monica Elderkin. Are you here? Okay. I have my official shake and bake timer. Okay, when it goes off, you're done. You want it up here or on the podium? Do you want this? Hold on. I'll give you. No, I know. We want to be fair. You ready? There you go.
Hello, my name is Monica Elderkin, and I'm running for Cheektowaga Town Council. I'm a former PTA president for Cleveland Hills School District for the past 5 years. I graduated from Syracuse University and have job experience in fundraising, in marketing, and I'm currently an executive assistant for VPs at a manufacturing company. I believe my project management, communication style, and client-centered leadership will lead me to be successful on the board. Thank you, Community Watch, for sponsoring this meeting, the Candidates Night. I attended these meetings years ago after I completed the 2 sessions of the Citizen Police Academy. I encourage everyone to take advantage of this program. I spent weeks learning about the fun stuff, taking fingerprints and taking tours, and the drunk goggles, which I believe are coming up next, but also about serious issues, going on ride-alongs, and a simulation of an active shooter. This was eye-opening and informative. Now, we all know there are New York State minimums in training, and our police department does above the minimum. I think that's crucial for the safety of the residents and the officers. When it comes time to discuss what services and departments need cuts, I could not see that coming from this one. I'm sure what's on the top of the minds of everyone is the upcoming budget. Just about 7 years ago, the minimum wage was about $4 less an hour. Labor is more expensive. Healthcare is more expensive. Fuel, electricity, cost of goods is more expensive. Our costs of goods are going to go up. I would welcome any way to be more efficient with purchasing, with staffing, with equipment. But with prices going up everywhere, we have to increase revenue. Taxes are one way, but we have to be more resourceful to fill in the gaps. I have owned my own home for 18 years, and my assessment value has more than doubled, so I understand the pain on the taxpayer. However, using COVID funds or reserves or bonding instead of using budgeted funds and then not changing the spending did not set us up for a good future. I think there's always room for compromise, but I would argue that not voting for a public hearing on exceeding the tax cap is shutting down the portion of residents who have been vocal with the strong desire to not have cuts in services. I will always be willing to listen. When I think of a top issue in Cheektowaga, it comes down to quality of life. Are our roads plowed? Are our potholes filled? Are our kids safe playing outside? Are our seniors taken care of? Are our neighborhoods maintained and noise complaints addressed? I think these concerns go across party lines, and we can all agree. One concrete thing I would like to utilize is to update our ways of communicating. It is frustrating for residents to have to go to Facebook to ask how to get a pothole filled because they don't know if it's a town or county or state road. We should make that clear on a website so residents know where to look. I think also a lot of issues occur because the public missed the public comment period, and by the time it makes its way to residents, decisions have already been made. You may have missed a notice in the Cheektowaga Bee, or maybe your street was one over from where it is legally required for the company to reach out to you. Communication can be modernized. We can go beyond the minimum requirements of law. Sometimes over-communication is okay. I've been going to doors since August, talking to Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, independents, and undeclared. I have knocked on over 1,000 doors. I've had great conversations with people, even if I walked away knowing they weren't going to vote for me. I hear ideas that I wouldn't have thought of, and I think that's a good thing. Sometimes people start a conversation, oh, I'm a Republican, and I say, that's okay. I want to work for everybody, so I want to talk to everybody. Cheektowaga is a very diverse town in age, in ethnicity, in religion, and political affiliations. I do not want to be in a bubble, so I'm only hearing an echo chamber. Now, as a lifelong people pleaser, I know I'm not going to be able to please everyone, and that's going to have to, it will hurt, but realistically, I have to hear perspectives, look at the other arguments, focus on facts, and make my decision. Alongside my party, I'm going to agree, and I'm going to disagree. I'm going to respect my fellow council members if they are in my party and they vote a different way. And if you are in a different party, I will treat you like a professional coworker. I can debate my argument respectively and treat you with respect. I'm a first-time candidate, called to action because I want change. I want Cheektowaga to be the choice when it comes to residents and businesses. I want a Cheektowaga that my mother can enjoy, that I can raise my family, and most importantly, leave a healthy and blossoming Cheektowaga for my children to inherit. Thank you all for your time. I humbly ask for your vote this election.
"13 seconds left. I am now auctioning off those 13 seconds. Diane, you came in late. We're doing the full-term vacancy first, and then we're doing the full-term candidates first, and then the vacancy, okay?
Thanks, Dan.
Anthony Filipski. I can hold, right?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out, getting involved in your government. It's nice to see. My name is Tony Filipski. I was elected to the town board last year to fill the one-year term when Brian Nowicki took over as supervisor of our town. Now I get the pleasure to run again for a full term. So a little bit about myself. I'm 62 years old, lived in town for 55 years about. I have 3 sons we're very proud of. My wife Dawn. I started growing up on Coons Avenue in the city. My father got a job in the school district, Cheektowaga Central School District, so we moved out to the country, Cheektowaga. Been here 55 years. I grew up on Barber Place, Genesee and Pine Ridge area to City Line. We moved to the southern part of town off of Raleigh Road, and we started a family, and our house was too small. I am a retired police officer from the town. I had 30 years. I've been retired 4 years. Prior to that, I was a New York State Correction Officer for 6 years. I'm a volunteer fireman in Cheektowaga for 44 years, past chief of the Pine Hill Fire Company, 2-time past chief of the Bellevue Fire Company, where I currently am active, and I was a fire commissioner for about 3 years there. So I've seen a lot. I'm old enough to see a lot, unfortunately for me. So I just want to get involved, try to give back to the town. The town's been very good to my family and me. My oldest son is a detective with the police department. My middle son is a dispatcher for the town. And my youngest son works for the school district. They did not get those jobs from me. They took tests, they went through the rigorous process, and that's the way it is. Everybody has the same opportunity. So since I've been on the board for 10.5 months, some of the things that I've tried to do or done, the biggest one is to try to work together. We need to work for the people of the town. Everybody deserves representation. Everybody deserves to be heard. Everybody deserves the same service. So initially, in a meeting with the supervisor at the building department, one of the employees brought up about a bed tax. I talked to the supervisor if that's possible. He said yes, so I kind of ran with it. It wasn't my idea, but I ran with it. Worked with Assemblyman Jasinski. We finally got it passed, a lot of legwork. Supervisor helped with Senator Baskin's office, so it was a bipartisan effort to bring approximately $2 million of revenue to the town without taxing our residents. This is a visitor tax. I ran it by everybody on the board prior to it. Everybody was on board with it. Maybe give us hopefully some relief. I just recently changed the town code in the sewer law. It hasn't taken effect quite yet. That was going on since March. Since January, we've replaced a couple assessors, HR person, senior center director, and we're involved in that salary negotiation. We lowered salaries there, saving quite a bit. I've also reached out several months ago to our HR and our IT departments to start some type of training program for our department heads. When a department head leaves, we promote somebody and it's just kind of, congratulations, good luck, and we set them up to fail. So even if it's just a computer program that they could go in and look up, this is my job, this is my duties. Everybody does more than what they're expected to do in town, basically, really. There's a lot of hard work in department heads. But something that they can go back to and review and say, okay, now I have an idea what I'm supposed to be doing. Contacts, people have contacts, like when Carrie left. Carrie was always a great job, did a great job here. But when she left, she knows more than what anybody else walking in would know. She has contacts, she's built relations. So we have that all written down, hit the ground running. That's the way I looked at it anyways. I work with the TCA president to train our employees to do more of the work. the employees want to work. They want to do the work, road work, sewer work, storm sewer work, repairs, they want to do that. They're kind of being held back by training, not training, safety issues, and the like. But we're working together to get that accomplished so we don't have to subcontract everything. Most places, most towns, their departments do 90 to 95% of the work. There's no reason we can't either. And I think that would show a big savings. We appointed a new building inspector, that was another one, department head. I met with him and the union president again, and we sat down and did a little reorganization of the building department. As far as adding a supervisory position under him, because the way it was set up when he went on vacation, I guess I'm done. When he went on vacation, there was nobody to take his place.
Sorry, Tony.
That's fine. Can I buy the 13 seconds? No. I'm open. No. I don't have the money. I'm poor. Thank you for your attention and vote in November. Thank you.
Stay afterwards and feel free to work the crowd. Michael Jasinski. When you're ready.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to talk in front of all these distinguished guests and the candidates. So I'd like to talk to you a little about who Mike Jasinski is. I grew up on the lower west side of Buffalo in a very diverse, poor part of town. Can you hear me? Is this better? Thanks. So I grew up on the lower west side of Buffalo in a very poor, diverse part of town, just outside of Allentown. Struggled a lot. My family was very poor. I knew there was a better life out there. So went to Seneca Vocational. Well, I originally went to Holy Angels on the west side for grammar school. And then I went to Seneca Vocational to take electrical. Got my electrical 4 years at Seneca. Then I went back to school, did night school at Seneca, took STEAM 1, STEAM 2 to become a stationary engineer, took the exam for the city of Buffalo, passed it, never paid for the exam. I didn't need it for the line of work I'm in. I was a certified generator technician, installed them, everything from water cooled to air cooled, installed, repaired them, whole house generators. I went back to school when I was 40 years old to get a better life for my children. I'm a father of 3, grandfather of 2. My children, what gets me out of bed every day and motivates me to do better and do better for the society. A lot of seniors come to me and say, Mike, I paid off my house 10 and 20 years ago, and I'm struggling with the taxes. I'm struggling to pay for it. I've talked to some of the people in the community that say, I'm 2 and 3 years behind on my taxes. What am I going to do? So I never wanted to get into politics. Let's face it, politics is very ugly. People really don't have nice things to say about people. Instead of looking at somebody's resume and the character of the person, they're too busy, slandering and talking BS about people instead of taking people who have tangible experiences to be able to make this town function. So, a little bit about my work history. So majority of my life I've been in HVAC, heating, cooling, commercial, residential, industrial. So half of my career I did is in the field work. I'd be the guy on the rooftops fixing the malls heat or people's furnaces in their basements. I did that half of my career. The other half of my career I've been in management for a short stint, maybe about 6 or 7 years. I used to work for a company, a national company doing saw cutting. So we did a lot of work on pretty much every bridge that any of us passed. So when they were doing restoration work for bridges and stuff like that, the company I worked for would saw cut the bridges, the abutments, the sleeper cells and all that stuff. So, my group was unionized. So I had Local 91 out of the Falls, and I had Local 210 out of Erie County. So I understand about unionized work. And being in the town, you gotta understand basically the metrics, what it takes to, deal with these unionized workers. And, I'm just a blue-collar guy like anybody else. Cheektowaga is very blue-collared, So I fight for the blue-collar guy, the working man. I've always had 2 and 3 jobs in my life. I work 7 days a week. And I know that, I wouldn't have some of the things in life if I didn't work every day of my life. So I've been on the board almost 4 years. Now that we have the board majority, I feel like we can finally get things done. A lot of us on the board have been working on this budget because we don't want to go over the tax cap. I don't think anybody does. I mean, Cheektowaga leads Erie County in foreclosures, just not by coincidence. It leads it because we can't afford the taxes in this town. Seniors, taxes, addiction are the 3 reasons why I ran for town board. I never wanted to be a politician. I did it because this is the town that my family was born and raised in. This is the town that my mother-in-law lives in, who built her house, who paid her dues to this town, who made Cheektowaga the great place it is. It still is. It's still a 5-star town, but the problem is for far too long, we had people that aren't able to manage the budgets in this town. We need somebody who has a background in finance. Well, I did business management. Finance was one of my classes. I currently work for a very large company. I do all the P&L, the profit loss statements for them. I manage large-scale budgets, $1 million budgets. So I understand what it does to take something from fruition to completion, and without even writing any change orders. So, the problem is that Cheektowaga outsources a lot of work. We don't need to outsource that work. We have a lot of talented people that work for this town that deserve that. And these are the people that rely on the overtime to buy their wives and children's Christmas gifts. We have people that work in this town that don't even make as much as a person working at Mighty Taco. So I think that's ridiculous. These people don't go to work because they hate their job. They love their job. They love working for this town. I live in this town because I love this town. I'm passionate about what I do. And what happens is people see me as a threat, so they're going to talk crap about me on Facebook. But they don't know who I am as a person. And I'm a man of integrity, and I'm a man of my word. And I will continue to fight for the people of Cheektowaga, the seniors, the people who are trying to buy homes. It's never been hard enough for people to buy houses in American history. This is the first time that the generations before us didn't go further than their parents.
That's everybody.
Thank you. I look forward to having your vote.
Stand, I'm ready. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dan Kollander. 60 years old. I've been married for 36 years. I'm self-employed, semi-retired. I'm debt-free in my personal and business.
Can't hear you back here, Dan.
I'm speaking as loud as I can. If they could turn the gain up on the mic, that would be great. I've never been in office. I've never ran for office. Nobody in my family's ever been in politics or ran. I'm truly the first person to do this in my family. So what I would like to do is, well, there's a lot of different things I like to do. I am a unaffiliated, no party, blank voter. So if you don't know what that is, that's somebody who is not registered, affiliated with a party. They're registered to vote, but not affiliated with a party. Okay. I never worked for the town of Cheektowaga. I'm a true outsider that can give the people of Cheektowaga the change they want. Okay. In order to get on the ballot, I had to create People for Change. Okay. People for Change, it's the only party on the ballot with changing its name. I needed 1,500 signatures. The parties only had to get 500 signatures. We ended up collecting 1,898 of them, of which I collected 1,027 of them myself. That's that 1,898 is more than both parties combined. After we got on the ballot, we thought we were good to go. Then the Board of Elections decided that they were going to disqualify my entire 102-page petition with all 1,898 signatures. I ended up suing them in Erie County Supreme Court, and I ended up winning. So they had to put me back on the ballot. They were wrong, I was right. I volunteered for and I sat on the Cheektowaga Budget Advisory Committee for all 4 years it existed, 2016 to 2019, where I learned how to read the budget and made many recommendations for spending reductions. I'm pro-taxpayer, I'm fiscally conservative. I think the town spends too much money and they do not spend it wisely. I will work for the 88,000 residents of the town. I will be a full-time councilman and I will not treat the position as a hobby, as my business will be put on the back burner. I will not take the town provided health care. That'll save the town $26,000 a year for each year I would sit on the board. I will work to reduce bonding and therefore the $2.8 million we currently spend in interest every single year. I will work with the other parties on needs of the town that come with fiscally responsible ways to be funded. I'd like to set up a fund to pay for plows, garbage trucks, and other vehicles. I'd like to create a fund to pay for the milling and paving of many town-owned roads every year. Currently, we bond those for 15 years. 2/3 of those roads done in 2024 were paid in 7 to 12 years. Only 1/3 of them made it past 12 years. Those roads still had years left on the bond, so we double bonded on them to a certain extent. When the town took out another bond, the bill and paid them again. I'll work to implement term limits. I will self-impose a term limit. I would only run for 2 terms no matter what. I'm not running for supervisor or any of that. I'm not going up the ladder in New York State. I'm coming here to work for the people. I'm going to do my community service is what I call it, and then I'll get out after 2 terms. May get out after 1 if I don't like it. I'll work to increase the senior exemption from the town's maximum of $48,400 to the New York State max of $50,000. I'll work to stop the Depew taxpayers from having to pay money for the Cheektowaga police coverage they do not receive. With that said, I'm a true outsider. My group is People for Change. I got some flyers over there. Explains a lot more than what I have on here. I truly will work for the people. I have no political connections. I'm not tied to any political party. Nobody can tell me what to do other than the people. That's who I'll work for. The people pay the taxes. The people should be running this town. Government's by the people, for the people. Thank you, and good evening.
Well, if my alphabet is right, Tiffany Lewis.
Good evening, Cheektowaga. Oh, that was weak. So good evening, Cheektowaga. That's a lot better. My name is Tiffany Lewis, and I stand before you not as a politician, but as a woman who, in 2008, fell in love with people, not politics. That year was the year I realized that real change doesn't start in the boardroom. It starts at the front porch, with a handshake, a conversation, and a heart that listens. I'm a public servant, a mother, a mentor, and a movement builder. My life's work has been rooted in service, integrity, and impact. From Buffalo to Cheektowaga, I have stood for transparency, accountability, and unity. I built an international nonprofit that empowers youth, thousands of youth, giving them a voice, a choice, and a chance. And my vision for Cheektowaga is simple but mighty. Train our youth, serve our elders, and fix our town. People want change, and I know that because I've been out there knocking on doors, listening to our neighbors, hearing your stories, and taking notes. I walk these neighborhoods with my running mate Monica, Brian, and Steve, standing side by side answering your questions and your concerns. And let me tell you something, Cheektowaga. We don't have to look for change because change is right here. I'm running this heart race for town council, not to hold office, but to hold space for every resident whose voice deserves to be heard, because this isn't about politics, Again, it's about people. It's about the single mother who's working double shifts. It's about the teenager searching for purpose. It's about the elder who's been waiting for someone finally to listen. When elected, I will redirect unused budgets and bring in new state grants to fix our roads and infrastructure so you can drive safely to work, to school, and home. I will merge mentorship and community policing to reduce youth violence and build trust in our neighborhoods. And I will work along the board and launch citizen advisory councils and public budget dashboards, because government should never hide from the people it serves. From mentorship to municipal reform, I know how to build systems that work because I've done it. And together we can heal the community from the ground up. I've served as chief of staff to the City of Buffalo Common Council, serving over 27,000 residents, and as an Erie County Cabinet member and governmental liaison for the now Senator April Baskin, leading programs that uplift families, seniors, and neighborhoods. As chair of the Erie County Commission on the Status of Women and a member of the New York State Criminal Justice Service Steering Committee, I helped redirect over $2 million in violence prevention funding because our family deserves safety, dignity, and peace. As the founder of the Confident Girl Mentoring Program, I've spent nearly a decade helping young people rise stronger, live braver, and become unbreakable. And you know what's special about today? You can ask me, what's special about today? Okay, well today is Youth Confidence Day, a national day that I founded to celebrate and strengthen the confidence of young people across America. Through that movement, I personally certified over 90 teens in mental health first aid, training them to respond to their peers when faced with crisis, because when our young people are equipped with empathy and tools, they become the greatest hope of change. So when people ask, when will the real Tiffany come? I have to tell you, I am here. I'm the woman who leads with strategy and soul. I'm the founder, the healer, the visionary. I'm not here to divide, I am here to unite. To make Cheektowaga a place where every person, young and old, working and retired, every background, every block, can thrive together. I am Tiffany Lewis, the first endorsed Black woman to ever run for Cheektowaga Town Council. And I'm not running to make history, I'm running to make a difference. And on November 4th, let's finish this heart race together. Let's build a Cheektowaga where no one is left behind, where unity beats louder than division, and where our future is brighter for everyone. Because the heart of Cheektowaga is not me, the heart of Cheektowaga is you.
Brian Pilarski. Was that louder? Yes. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Thank you very much for coming out tonight and listening to me. And here we go. I'm Brian Pilarski. I'm an Army veteran. I've served with the 108th Infantry as an NCO, got up to E5 Sergeant. I then later on got my commission and served with the 101 Cav as a second lieutenant. Went in there, took command of the 101 Cav Alpha Troop, and got up to Captain Promotable, and then decided to hang up my boots and work in the civilian world right there. I graduated St. Bonaventure University, where I received my commission through the ROTC program. I'm a husband to my wonderful, beautiful bride, Jennifer, of 15 years. I'm a father to 3 amazing children, 14-year-old Grace, 10-year-old Gavin, and 7-year-old Greer. I'm a baseball and softball coach over at Cheektowaga Youth Little League. I've also coached at Southline Little League right here locally. I'm a Cub Scout Den leader with Pack 554, which meets out of Maryville School. I'm the past vice president and president of the Maryville School Board before joining the Cheektowaga Town Board. I'm currently the CEO president of the Seneca Babcock Community Association, which is a human service agency that serves the community in Buffalo and surrounding communities, from everything from childcare to senior services. I've been there since I was 14 years old, working summer youth. Went through the ranks there, climbed the ladder, 14-year-old kid working their summers there. Came back during summer times, running the athletic programs when I was on college break. After college, I sat on the board of directors. They were looking for a new executive director at the time. And here I am there, for 28 years now, and now I'm the CEO, president of the organization. And most importantly, I'm currently your council member, one of the 6 board council members and one of the 7 board members. During my time on the Cheektowaga board, I currently chair the Veterans Affairs Committee and the Youth and Rec Committee, and I co-chair the Senior Services. Those committees are all near and dear to me due to my background, and that's my wheelhouse. I also have been instrumental in bringing in the Boys and Girls Club into Cheektowaga here. I helped finalize the lease agreement using lease agreements that I have with the City of Buffalo for our community centers, which we operate 6 of them. I was also very instrumental in bringing in Veterans Park. When I first got on the town board, Glenn Bateman came to the town board meeting a month in and said, hey, I've been trying to get my brother recognized in the town of Cheektowaga, who's a Vietnam veteran, and with the help of the board, the current board at that time, and our highway department, we ended up renaming the street over at Nob Hill to Neil Bateman Parkway. And then we created Veterans Park over at Nob Hill, which the final bricks are going in right now. Not as we speak because it's too late, but they'll be back there tomorrow to continue their work. And it'll be done very soon. It'll be beautiful. So part of that. And I've been instrumental in bringing tunnels to towers here to the town of Cheektowaga. It was actually last August. We sat down and met at Duff's with their government affairs official. And here we are now, a little bit later, they're going to start building a veterans housing program where the old senior home was on Harlem. That's been there for 30 years that the town's been trying to get rid of or address and corrected right across from Cleveland School. I'm the one who brought in 2 new internet providers. As you know, we've always had Spectrum. We were handcuffed. It was a monopoly. Now we have GoNet and Greenlight, part of Cheektowaga here as internet providers, providing competition, breaking up the monopoly, and therefore now you have competition going on with lower internet costs, better packages, better services, and it's more competitive. I know nothing else but public service and selfless service. As I mentioned it earlier, my past and current work, highlighting everything I've done, I'm just a public servant. I've been constantly rewarded and promoted for my hard work and because of the results I've produced. I was recognized as Buffalo Business First 40 under 40. I do not vote straight party lines, and that shows on the voting records there. There's things I disagree with my own party. There's things I agree with the opposing party, and that shows. There's things I disagree with the supervisor, and we'll get into that. One of the big things being the budget. It's tough. I get his intent, rip the Band-Aid off all at once and let's address the problem. I've got a different idea and solution to it, is to gradually do it over time and address that issue. I think we should invest in our infrastructure, and that's kind of where I differ from the current board majority. I think we should bond for items that are like infrastructure, like our streets. I think we should bond for equipment like our plows and sanitation trucks. I do not think we should bond over short-term items. That's just foolish. In this world, it's no different than your home. There's good debt, there's bad debt. Bad debt is taking your credit card, charging it, going out there and buying things on a whim. Good debt is mortgaging your home. I get, the philosophy of the board majority right now is cash on hand. That's great. That's their view on it and their philosophy. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. My philosophy on it is, who's got that cash on hand right now? You don't walk in and buy a house for $250,000 with cash right out there. You mortgage it. This year's budget, it's tough. I mean, we're looking at a 7.6% increase. It will not be that. I promise you that. I see I've got 14 seconds. I'm endorsed by the Democratic Party, Progressive Dems, Working Families, and I'm very proud to say that I'm endorsed by both the captains and lieutenants of our Cheektowaga Police and our PBA Club of Cheektowaga Police. And I made it.
Okay, our final candidate for the full term, Mark, can you step up? You get 6 minutes.
Yes.
Tell us all about yourself.
I love Stan. When I started in the town, Stan was on, well, Stan came onto the board. But I just want to say I came from Bowling. We were the last ones done. That's why I got here late. But I started in the town in '84 as a full-time employee. I know exactly what needs to be done in the town. I know where to save money. Now, I've been the highway superintendent for the 16 years until I retired. But what we did was, we started a scrapping program. And the taxpayers loved it. Because all you had to do was call the highway department and put your scrap out front. We'll come and get it. Don't put it at the street. Don't put it out on your garbage night. We can turn 17,000, or we were doing 17,000 a month. And I said, we can turn this into $1 million a year with doing this. I want to restructure the departments where we have building and grounds, great guys, not going to lay anybody off, but you are going to go into something else. Hire a cleaning company to take care of this building, town hall, police and court. Those are professional cleaners. A 22-year-old kid is not going to clean a building. You want to bring in money from outside, and I know how to do it. And, you know, I just hope you guys trust me. If you like me as a highway superintendent, you'll love me as a town board member. And I will work hard with whoever gets in. And I know every, the TCA contract, the TCSU contract, nobody else knows that. How hard it is to deal with them. You know, you just can't come in here and say, oh, we're gonna lay you up. No, you're not. I've been in court so many times with the union. It's not easy, and people just don't understand that, but I'm 100% Cheektowaga. That's all I have to say.
All right. Okay, that's it for the candidates for the full term. We've got two for the, what's called the vacancy, and then we're going to bring up the controller positions. I see Kevin's here. Is Christine here? Okay, so let's bring up Diane Benczkowski first, because we're going alphabetical. Wow. You got like 20 minutes this time. You got 6 minutes. You ready? You want to open your book first? Okay, there you go.
Thank you, Stan. Good evening, everyone. I'm Diane Benczkowski. Currently, I'm on the Cheektowaga Town Board. I was a past town supervisor from 2016 through the end of 2023. Before that, I was a town council member for 2 years. And before that, I was on the DPU school board for 10 years. So I have a lot of experience in government. And I have to say that my government experience with between the school board and the town board has helped me to get where I am today and help to present to the public a responsible budget. that to me is number one, is we have to keep our taxes low. There's some people that live in our town that can't even put food on the table, or have to miss one meal. They're eating just 2 meals a day because they can't afford their taxes and they don't want to lose their home. And me being the type of person that has a lot of empathy and I can understand and put myself in their spot, it's a very important factor for me to make sure that those taxes are in line. We used to be, well, we still are the highest taxed town, and anybody that knows me knows this is how I travel. Actually, this is like today. I come to every board meeting with a rolling suitcase. So I have everything with me that I can pull out, even my laptop, which has tons and tons of files, to be able to back up my argument and back up my decision. And you know what? I'm open to compromise. If sometimes I'm wrong and somebody else is right, they can convince me, well, Diane, you might want to try it this other way. I am fine with that. I do want to try to hit on a few things. Well, first of all, I'm a lifelong resident of the town of Cheektowaga. I was born and raised here, and my husband and I chose to raise our family here. So to me, we need to keep this town a desirable town that people want to come back here and move in here. Actually, the last census we did, we increased our population to 89,000 people. I think it was by 10,000. So we want to keep that going. I'm also a real estate broker for over 20 years, 25 years, close to 30 now. So I understand the real estate market, and our property values have gone up. So it's harder for people to buy homes in our town. When I became supervisor, the vacant zombie properties were well over 500. And before COVID, well, it was during COVID, the end of 2021, we got them at around 167, down to 167 vacant zombie homes. However, because of COVID and then the market started changing, we're back up there quite a bit. And that, to me, is something we need to address, because when our neighborhoods are welcoming and beautiful, people want to live and work in our community. So that, to me, is an important point I want to bring out. I also wanted to bring out the budget this year. This is our 26 budget. Over the years when I was supervisor, I like charts and things too. I was able to grow the fund balances. We always talk about, oh, the fund balance, the fund balance. Well, I grew them. This is a chart of the general fund balance. I know it's probably hard. I'm going to try to post this on my Facebook page tomorrow. But you can see in 2015, the unappropriated fund balance was around $8 million. Then I started to grow the fund balance so that we always had a reserve for ourselves in case of an emergency. And at the end of 2023, when I left, we went from $8,040,000 in 2015. In the end of 2023, we were at almost $13 million, $12,009,000. So anybody who understands fund balance understands the importance of this. However, last year, our new supervisor had used $15 million of these reserve funds that we grew in case of an emergency, which we did. We had to use it for the blizzard in 2022, right? And the November storm in 2022. Thank goodness we did have these reserves. These play a very important part in the budget process. However, there were times that the general fund balances went high, so we were able to use some of that to give back to the taxpayers instead of raising our taxes. Because this is our savings account, right? So why should the town be collecting interest on it instead of giving it back to our residents? So I was able to keep the tax increases very, very low. Actually, there were no tax increases in 2022, 2023, and in 2024, the last budget I did before I left, there was only a 0.97% tax increase. So that's where we need to concentrate on trying to be fiscally responsible for you, the residents, and not tax you out of your homes. Thank you. I'll be around if anybody wants to ask any questions, and you can always contact me at the office or through Facebook or through email. And thank you, Sarah. This is light.
Okay, our final candidate, remember, Diane is running against the next candidate, Stefan Nowicki. Did I pronounce your name right, sir?
Stephen.
Stephen Nowicki.
It happens a lot.
There we go. Because the ballot shows the candidates for the full term, okay? Everybody knows that. You guys have been around long enough, so. Anyhow, tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready. Saving the best town council candidate for last, right? Just kidding, just kidding. So hello everyone, thank you for coming tonight. My name's Stephen Nowicki. I'm 29 years old, and I'm running for the unexpired council seat. At 29, I may be young, but do not mistake my youth for inexperience. I've accomplished a great deal in my years, and I believe I'm a strong candidate for Cheektowaga Town Council. From my background, I grew up in Cheektowaga and attended the Maryville School District, graduating in 2014. I was an active Boy Scout and earned the rank of Eagle Scout the summer I graduated. For my professional experience, about a year after high school, I joined the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW. I joined in September 2015 and recently celebrated my 10-year anniversary with them. 2 years ago, I completed my apprenticeship and became a journeyman wireman. Just before finishing, I ran for and won an elected board position in my union. After completing my apprenticeship, I also trained to become an instructor in my union, teaching trade skills necessary to our industry. I've been an educator for 2 years while continuing to work full-time in the field. Shortly after completing my apprenticeship, I moved into a foreman role. Since then, I've been overseeing multiple projects with costs in the millions, supervised crews of over 20 workers, and ensured correct installations and quality. I have been assigned to recover troubled jobs and lead projects from start to finish. Managing large budgets and leading teams are well within my experience. For my home and my family life, I'm a homeowner in Cheektowaga. I pay my taxes just like everyone else here. I manage the day-to-day costs of maintaining a home. Earlier this year, my homeowner's insurance was nearly canceled before I put a new roof on my house. Anyone who's owned a home knows the worry that notice brings. I understand the hardship of working to keep a roof over your head and the task it takes to keep that there. But the home is not just where I sleep, it's where my family lives. Earlier this year, I married my wonderful wife. She's been my biggest supporter through this campaign, and I owe her my deepest thanks. That's enough about me. Let's talk about policy and my vision for Cheektowaga. First and foremost, I want to overhaul how we manage our infrastructure and public services. Over the past 2 years, the town has effectively halted development projects, whether that be for roads, sewers, or other essentials. All of us see our tax bills rise, so why should we accept the lower quality of service? For the last 2 years, residents have been dutifully paying their taxes, all while the board has failed to do the necessary work to keep our town in good condition. In 2025, we have only started and not even completed one road repaving project. I urge every resident in here to ask the board how that is acceptable for our town. Sewers are no different, except they're out of sight and out of mind. Both roads and sewers are eligible for substantial grant funding from New York State and the federal government. Money that's not guaranteed to be there year after year. For the past 2 years, the board has not pursued these grants aggressively or effectively. When our roads and sewers are deteriorating, we cannot allow a town board to complete one road project in a year and ignore available funding. There's a saying in my industry, if you think planned maintenance is expensive, wait till it plans itself. Ask anyone who's postponed home maintenance. Has a project ever gotten cheaper because you've waited longer? It hasn't happened to me. It seems to me this town board believes that's how it works. From both a professional and personal experience, that kind of planning is a recipe for disaster. Now, from my past experience, I don't have a track record on the town board, but this town has a record itself. Our town increased spending by over $10 million from 2021 through 2024 while raising revenues just over $2 million. Brian Nowak didn't write those budgets. The budgets that passed were almost identical from the supervisor's proposals differing by only about $200,000. How do we expect decisions like that to be a benefit to the town? Spending more than we can afford is not what Cheektowaga needs. I don't want to be in a position to cut services or raise taxes, but that's the position we're in right now. Cheektowaga needs a council member who will look to fix these issues, not create more. We're in a budget crisis due to this prior spending. We cannot afford these decisions anymore. Right now, we're looking at over $5 million in more tax spending, and right now we only have a tax levy increase of about $3,000. This is not sustainable. We need to do better. In closing, the choice for my council race comes down to this. There's no one else we need to think about on the ballot for my race. It's myself and Diane running for the seat. You have the choice of her Cheektowaga or mine. No person runs alone. Every candidate, even in a Cheektowaga town council race, has a team of supporters working for their success. I'm grateful for the people who have stood with me, and I ask for all of your support to help serve this community when I'm on the town council. Thank you.
Okay, one more call for, because we're doing this alphabetically, Christine Zarnick, are you here? Okay, we're going to do the county controller, Mr. Kevin Hardwick.
This is the baking clock, so 6 minutes.
We need a much bigger clock for those of us. Anyway, thank you, Stan. Well, where would you rather be than right here, right now? Now, most of you recognize that as a Marv Levy quote, probably his most famous quote, but it may be his most famous quote, but it's not my favorite Marv Levy quote. My favorite Marv Levy quote was during the Super Bowl years. It was a week a lot like this. The Bills had a rough patch, and at the press conference before the game, the reporter asked him, Marv, is Sunday's game a must-win? And Marv thought about it for a second. He said, no, World War II was a must-win. This is just a football game. Now that kind of put things in perspective for a lot of us who love the Bills and, you know, we're glad that we won World War II. This election is not World War II. It's not as important as World War II. It's probably not the most important election in your lifetime, certainly not my lifetime. I could look at some other elections, but it's the only one that we have, and it is important. It's about what happens here in Erie County, in the town of Cheektowaga. It's about your taxes, and it matters to you, and it matters to all of us candidates. I'm running for re-election as Erie County Controller. Prior to Erie County Controller, I've had a number of political offices. I was on the town or city council in City of Tonawanda for 3 terms, 6 years. I was 6 terms, 12 years on the Erie County Legislature. And for the last 36 years, I've taught the American government and public policy and public administration courses at Canisius College. I'd like to say that I've taught my students for the last 36 years good government, and for the last 4 years, I practiced what I preach at the Erie County Controller's office every day. Now, the reason I say this, you know, when I went into office, we were not getting much on our investment. The entire investment budget for the county controller in my first year, which was set before I came into office, was $200,000. That's because the money was parked. All of our investments, hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money, was invested in a savings account at M&T Bank at 2 basis points. 2 basis points is 0.02%, not 2%, but 0.02%. So you can imagine hundreds of millions of dollars. We're only getting, you know, expected to get 200,000. I said this is ridiculous. We're going to make banks compete. We're going to get treasury bills, and you know, we made $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 million that first year. Since I've been in office, we have made $80 million in investment interest. That's $80 million that we don't have to raise in property taxes. Also, I'm very proud of the audits that we've done. You know, we one of the first audits we've done, we found nearly $750,000 that we had been overcharged by a contractor in the health department. We found, the year after that, we found the law department, another $1 million that we either weren't clawing back from a contractor who didn't need the money, that didn't perform the services that we asked them to, or we hadn't gotten reimbursement for the state. The applications just weren't filled out, and we pointed that out. Probably the most important audit, of course, was that of the clerk's office. There we found a counterfeit check for $326,000 that the clerk was unaware of, and we recovered that money. And there was also an employee who embezzled over $300,000, and that employee ended up in jail, and we were able to recover all but the $25,000 deductible from our insurance carrier once we pointed out that, this money had been embezzled. Again, that's money that doesn't have to be raised through property taxes. The big thing we did, however, with the clerk's office is we didn't spike the football. We didn't try to embarrass the clerk. We didn't say, "Hey, you dummy, look at this." We worked with him to make the office better. We pointed out he needed better staff, different types of staff. He needed better accounting software. He took those, he did his job. He took those recommendations to heart. He went to the county legislature, asked for those things, and the county legislature balked. It was at that time that I went to bat for him. I sent a letter to the legislature. I lobbied legislature members. I testified before the legislature, says, yes, he needs these. And he did get them as a result. That's good government. People working across the aisle for the betterment, putting their egos aside, not calling press conferences and grandstanding, but getting the job done. And I'd like to do that for the people of Erie County. I hope that you'll give me another term. I certainly would appreciate that. And for the record, I'm happy and I'm grateful to be right here, right now, with all of you. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes candidates night. Can we give all the candidates a round of applause? Before we adjourn, a couple points. For any new timers here, first time, we meet the third Monday of every month, okay? We have guest speakers that are very, very interesting, okay? And that's the main core of our meeting. We have our police that give a status report of what's happening in town from a crime standpoint. So I highly encourage you to try to make some time to be here the third Monday of every month at 7 o'clock. It's going to be worth your while. Now, I'm told by Ed, who does a great job getting our speakers, that next month's speaker is fantastic. So fantastic that, believe it or not, for security reasons, we can't tell you who it is. I am not kidding you. That is what Ed told me that the speaker said. So I would encourage you, just out of curiosity's sake, to come and see who the speaker is, okay? I don't think it's Donald Trump, so don't get too excited. So anyway, next month, he tells me it's going to be a very exciting, interesting speaker. So I'm just going to open up for a few questions. I don't want to belabor anything as far as tonight goes. Oh, hold on a second. Ed, go ahead. Who wants to speak? Sorry, Ed.
And no, Stan's right, it's not Trump.
I know this timer's a little bit distracting, but that's the only way I can be fair to all the candidates, and that's okay. All right, Dan Kollander.
Yeah, or anybody else. We're going to try something new, up and coming, probably next month. Oh, okay. All right, how's that? We're going to try something new next month. With the non-popular removal of the tracks, which most everybody in this room like to see, and we don't have anymore.
Can you explain what tracks are, just so for the
Okay.
newcomers?
So for the new folks, tracks were printed logs for every month for different sections of the town, different neighborhoods. We used to have watch groups in the town. Now it's kind of built into come here on the third Monday. So we roll with it. So instead of the tracks, which we don't have anymore, next month we will start having monthly newsletters going out to everybody that's on the email list. Mike Fielli and I are going to work together. We're going to come up with the new first version over the next few weeks, and we're going to roll with that, and hopefully we get some more of the folks coming back that we lost when they said no more tracks. Because we probably lost 20% of the pop by not having tracks. People like to see it in writing. So that's what we're going to get. Anybody that has email, please make sure that Paul has your email. When you sign in, they ask that you put your email. So we're going to be using that. And like Stan said, for next month, I'm dead serious for the speaker. They said, don't publicize it. It's a secret, and it's so much a secret that it's classified, and I can't tell you. So come next month, bring your friends, bring all your neighbors. Let's get some people coming back to this meeting and start acting like Neighborhood Watch should. Anybody that's been here, don't be offended, I'm not talking about you. So that's up and coming. We're going to try other new things to entice the group, get people to come, get people to come back, and we'll go from there. Thanks.
I just want to piggyback on what Ed was saying regarding these tracks. Each month you would get a printout of every street in your area and exactly what the police call was on your street. Didn't give the address, but at least you knew if there was robberies or domestics. So that brought a lot of people out, because as a neighborhood watch group, you knew what was going on in your neighborhood. And unfortunately, the police, due to nothing of their own fault, can't produce that. We're going to try to continue to give information out now so that you know what's going on in your neighborhood. Real quick, any quick questions? Okay, everybody drive home safe. Thank you again, candidates, and hopefully we'll see everybody next month. Thank you.